Hi everyone, and welcome to the Knit California podcast. My name is Leslie. I'm a knitter, crocheter, spinner, pattern designer, and yarn enthusiast in Southern California, and this is my weekly podcast where I talk about all the knitting that I've been working on. I am back from my trip, and so today's episode may be a little bit of a long one. I have a couple finished objects to talk to you about, a couple new cast-ons, and some announcements. We are doing a knit-along. There is a yarn collection that I want to talk about. There is a lot going on. So grab your knitting, grab something cozy to drink, and let's get into it. Okay, I did that intro like 8 times. It's been so long since I have filmed a podcast. It's been about 3 weeks, but I am back from my trip to Ireland. I went with Rachel from Rachel is Knitting on a Rachel is Knitting Irish knitting tour, and it was so much fun. I can't wait to tell you all about it. I am working on the vlogs. I'm hoping to have the first one up this Friday, and there's going to be at least 2, probably 3, potentially 4, but I think 3 is going to be the sweet spot of the number of vlogs that are going to come out. And like I said, I just can't wait to tell you all about it. It was such a fun trip. While I was on the trip, I did a lot of knitting. So you may notice we have a finished object here to talk about. I also have a second finished object, and like I said at the top of the episode, 2 new cast-ons that you haven't seen before. So there is a lot going on. Also, can you see my hair? I did close the door. I tested out the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives Utah curls where the end is like straight. Anyway, I think it's really cute because it got the curl a little bit higher on my head with all the hair I have. Anyway, we're not really here to talk about my hair, even though I'm like mildly obsessed with it when I curl it. Anyways, let's talk about my first finished object, my Alchemy Pullover. I finished my Alchemy Pullover on the last day of the trip. When the vlogs come out, I kind of give some small updates here and there as I'm going through the trip. And one of the last updates I remember giving, it was the day before, so it was 2 days before the end of the trip, and I was like, I got a whole sleeve left, there's no way I'm going to finish this. And I ended up finishing this on the last day of the trip, right before we went to the Cliffs of Moher. And we were on a ferry. We basically had to cross an estuary, so it was a very short, very small, like 20-minute ferry. I had just finished the sweater, and then we got on the ferry, and I was like, I'm gonna put the sweater on. So I did a quick change in the back of the bus, and I come out of the ferry. Mind you, it's not blocked. I haven't finished weaving in all the ends. Everybody sees me, everybody claps. Everybody else who's on the ferry is like, what the heck is going on? And I was able to wear the sweater at the cliffs, even though it was raining and windy, and the whole rest of the day, and it just felt so good, and I am so happy with it. Since getting home, I have blocked it, so it's now in its final stages. I will make sure there's photos up so you can see all of the details of me wearing this, but I am so happy with it. Now, the fun part. This is a design by me, if you didn't know. It is a drop shoulder, top down, DK weight, 20 stitches, I think is the gauge. I should know this off the top of my head. 20 stitches and 32 rows is the gauge on 4.5mm needles. I am a relatively tight knitter, so a lot of people get that gauge also on 4mm needles, so you know, whatever works for you. There's some really fun details on this sweater. That's really what makes it. The collar is a 1x1 rib folded over collar. I did put some elastic in it this morning, and so it's looking really good. The sleeve cuffs and the bottom hem are actually 2x1 ribbing, which is really fun. I'm really happy with the way that this looks. The sleeve decreases. Okay, so the way the sleeve works is you pick up the stitches here and then you knit straight for a good chunk of the sleeve. And then you start the sleeve decreases, and they're all done right here in this line. And so it gives it just this like really fun detail. Instead of having a fully, you know, tapered sleeve where you don't see the details, it's just, you know, a little extra detail. I've said that a lot. And then probably the best part, save the best for last. Can you see? Can you see? Okay, there we go. This is the back panel slip stitch detail, and it goes all the way down the side, and since it comes around just moving all over the place. It comes around the front panel as well on the arm, and both of those go down the side all the way to the hem. And then the hem is the 2x1 ribbing. If you haven't heard me talk about this a million times, this design was inspired by a sweater that Taylor Swift wore to a Chiefs game. It was the championship Chiefs game that they won. They got to the Super Bowl. It was a whole big thing. I was obsessed with this sweater. I thought it was so cute, and I loved it in the red that she was wearing. Obviously the red to support the Kansas City Chiefs, and I really wanted to recreate it. So yes, this is inspired by Taylor Swift, but I think with where the design is now, this is like, I don't think if anyone looked at this sweater, they would say, that's a Taylor Swift sweater. I think they would just look at this and say, wow, those design details are really cool. Maybe they would say, that looks like a store-bought sweater. I don't know, who knows? And so I think this design is just really classic and really knittable for anyone who's interested in a sweater with design details like this, even if they're not into Taylor Swift. Okay, that's my way of saying that you can still knit this even if you're not a Taylor Swift fan like I am. Okay, I think I was going to tell you about the test. I think I said now for the fun part and then didn't get into the fun part. The test is, when this video goes up, the test application is going to be live. So my plan, today's Sunday, October 20th? Yes, today is Sunday, October 20th. My plan is to put the test call out tomorrow, Monday, October 21st, and then have it up for Monday and Tuesday, October 22nd. So that means when this video comes out, if you're watching it on Tuesday, the test call should still be live. I have a feeling the test is going to fill up really fast, and I'm going to get a lot of applicants on those first 2 days. I will likely close the test application the night of Tuesday night or Wednesday morning. But I wanted to announce it here on the podcast in case there's anyone who watches me here who maybe doesn't necessarily follow me over on Instagram. I will have the link to apply for the test in the description box down below, and that way you can apply if you would like to as well. I'm just gonna put it out there. Like I said, I think there's gonna be like a lot of people that apply for this, so I probably will not be able to choose everyone. I really wish I could. There's so many people who are excited and like want to knit this, and that makes me so happy. And then to have to like turn around and say, I'm sorry, I don't have room for you in the test, does not make me feel happy. That feels really shitty. But that's kind of just how it's going to have to be, unfortunately. I'm really sorry. My thought is that the test will run from the beginning of November through the end of January. So that's 3 months, November, December, January. That's about 12 weeks. The holidays are in there, so I know that that's like a really busy time for people. So I think 12 weeks is going to be a good amount of time for this test. And then that means that this pattern can go live at the beginning of February, which is Super Bowl season. So everyone cross your fingers that the Kansas City Chiefs are in the Super Bowl again, because that would just honestly be way too perfect. And everyone can knit themselves the Taylor Swift Chiefs sweater, aka the Alchemy Pullover. I love it so much. I'm so happy with it. And like, okay, let's also talk about the red, because like red really is not a soft summer color, but I've seen so many people like comment on all of my videos and posts on Instagram about this, and they're like, that color red looks good on everyone. So I honestly don't think it looks bad. I'm looking at myself in the viewfinder right now. And yeah, I don't think it looks bad on me. I'm really, really into it. It's really bright. I never thought I would be one for like a bright red sweater, but yeah, I really like it. Oh, the other thing that I should mention, the yarn that I used for the Alchemy Pullover is Dusty Yarn Co. Classic DK in the colorway HRH HGH. And Audrey from Dusty Yarn Co. has very graciously offered a discount on yarn for testers for the California sweater. So there will be a 15% discount code available if you're chosen for the test. You can choose any of her colors in her colorway library, including HRH HGH if you would like to match with me and make your own Taylor Swift red Chiefs sweater. Or, I mean, honestly, I think this would look beautiful in any of her colors. She does tonals so amazingly, so you can't go wrong with any of them. Let's move on. I want to talk to you about my next finished object, my socks. Okay, the last time I talked to you about these socks, I think I didn't even have the first one done, maybe I did, but I couldn't show them to you in color. And now, since the yarn that I'm using is from my Ireland Memories collection collaboration with Kimber's Cozy Creations, all of the colorways have been revealed on Instagram, and the collection is now live, by the way. I can show you these socks, and I'm so excited because I literally just finished the second sock yesterday. So, dun, 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 dun. Here they are. Don't they look so good? I am so happy with them. Okay, they look a little like big on the sock blockers. I guess I have a large foot because I need the larger size sock blockers. But let's back up. I brought my box of all of the Ireland Memories collection yarn out. And actually, one of the videos that went live while I was in Ireland was a whip update where I like walked through all of the projects that I was working on to get ready for Ireland, to wear them in Ireland. And I did show this yarn, all of the Ireland, well, some of the Ireland Memories collection yarn. I did show it in that video. So you may have seen the tonals and the self-striping colorway, but I'm gonna show it to you all again. And we're gonna start with the self-striping because we're going to talk about the socks first. Okay, anyways, here is the self-striping yarn skein. Doesn't it just look so fun in like skein form? And then here's what it turns into knit up. So this is really fun. You can see all of the colors. And then the contrast color that I used for the heel and the toe is called Quills, and it's this lovely burgundy red tonal. The self-striping, by the way, is called Cashmere. Cashmere. And this is inspired by a town named Cashmere in Ireland. There were these buildings that were painted these fun colors. On the bottom floor there is a store called Quills, and the signage is this burgundy red, so it's just like really a perfect match. We went back there this year. It was so much fun. I was like so in love. I had my one sock done, and it was just really, really nice. Went into the shop, I purchased a sweatshirt in Quills, so now I have that as like my souvenir, like from Ireland, from Quills. I purchased it the same day the collection went live. It's a whole thing. It made me feel very happy, and it was very special. Okay, I want to give you some details on how I knit these socks. This is I'm like not a sock knitter, or historically I have not been a sock knitter. I have tried to knit socks so many times and like really have just failed constantly. And when I got this self-striping skein, I just felt like these needed to be socks. I wanted to knit them up to showcase for the collection, and Rachel from Rachel is Knitting has a sock cranking machine, and she was like, send me the skein, I will crank them for you. And I was like, you know what, I really appreciate that, but I think I need to actually knit these myself. I just really felt like I needed to do it, and I did, and I'm really, really happy with them. Okay, so I used the Summerly Knits I'm So Basic sock pattern. Number one, it's a free pattern. Number two, I already had it in my library because I have attempted to knit these socks so many times. And number three, it's got a lot of links to video tutorials, which really helps me out. I'm a very visual learner. I love to watch videos when I'm learning, so I knew that this was going to be a good way to do this. So in the past I have tried to knit the size medium, and they have come out too small. So I measured my foot and I figured I'm gonna go for the size large. When I talked about the sizing a few episodes ago, a lot of people were like, that's gonna be too big on you. Guys, just so you know, you don't really know the size of my feet. I didn't realize I had size large feet either, but these fit really well. They are a little bit big, and I do have some things that I want to modify on my next pair of socks, but I was really looking at this pair, number one, to knit up this colorway, but number two, also to be like a test to see, okay, do I like the size needles that I'm using? Do I like the method that I'm using? Like, I knit these on magic loop, not with 9-inch circulars, not with DPNs, and do I like the fit? So I like the size needles that I was working with. I felt comfortable working with them. I really liked knitting it magic loop, and the sock like fits decently. The biggest thing that I was worried about was the cuff being too small and like cutting off circulation on my leg. I cast it on at 75 stitches, so the cuff is fine. The cuff fits really well, and it's not too big, okay? Where it does get a little big is right here at the ankle, and then on the foot it's a little bit big, and I also knit the foot, I think, slightly too long. So what I did do though is, so I started with 75 stitches. I did do a couple decreases. They're on this side, I don't know if you'll be able to see them, but I did do a couple decreases here and here, so I went down to 71 stitches, and once I got after the heel flap and gusset, and when I was doing these decreases here, I just did an extra decrease on one of the sides so that my end of the foot has 70 stitches, and I had 70 stitches going into the toe because I wanted to make sure those were even for the grafting of the toe. Okay, when I do my next pair, what I'm going to attempt, and I wrote this down so that I can remember, is I'm going to start with the 75 stitches at the cuff. I really like this 2x1 rib cuff, and that needs to be a multiple of 3, so that works out. And then I'm going to continue decreasing about 5 times to get down to 64 stitches at the ankle. We'll do the heel flap and gusset, and we'll come down to 64 stitches again on the foot, and do the toe as normal. I want to try out, just see how that fits overall on my foot. I'm also going to do less. I think I'm going to do about each stripe for me was about 5 rows. So I'm gonna do 5 less rows on the foot on my next sock as well, just to like see if that shorter length feels better. I might need to go more, like I might need to do, I don't know, 10 stitches left or less or something in between that, but I'm gonna start with 5. And all of this is just so crazy to me because I'm like planning out my next sock project. Like I cast this off yesterday and I was like, okay, what sock set am I going to cast on next? This morning I took out all of the sock sets that I have in my cabinet and I kind of like looked through all of them. I have one other self-striping sock set, and I think what really kept me motivated was the stripes, especially because I could count like, okay, each stripe is 5 rows, so I know I'm like really making progress when I get to a new color, and that was really motivating for me. So I think I'm going to cast on the second self-striping sock set that I have, and they're actually Christmas, it's a Christmas theme, so that'll be really fun. Maybe I can finish them before Christmas and have little Christmas socks to go with my red sweater that I'm gonna wear for Christmas also. That'll be really nice. But yeah, that's the story of my socks. I'm really proud of them. Just like I said, because it's been so long since I have officially finished knitting a pair of socks, and we're getting colder in the mornings and in the evenings. Like it's gonna be 80 degrees this afternoon, but our house this morning was like 60 degrees because we left all of the windows open at night, and so in the morning I get to bundle up now and I get to wear my socks with my slippers, and that just makes me so happy. Also, I will say it is still cool in here, so I'm like very comfortable right now wearing this full sweater instead of overheating, and I'm really happy about it. This is the first podcast this year since spring really, since I've had the opportunity to say that, so yay. Okay, I want to show you the rest of the Ireland Memories collection yarn because I'm really proud of it. So stick with me here. The collection is currently live and is going to be available through October 27th. The link to shop is in the description box down below. I'm partnering with Kimber from Kimber's Cozy Creations, so just make sure you look out for that link. Kimber was not able to go on the Irish knitting tour, but when I was posting all of my photos last year, she was in my DMs almost every day and was like, oh my gosh, I can see this as like a yarn color. Oh my gosh, this needs to be a yarn color. And so finally I was like, Kimber, let's do this. Let's make an Ireland yarn collection. And you will see that this collection is very different from like any Ireland collection you've ever seen, because it's based off of like my photos and my memories, and not necessarily like all of like the landscapes and the earthiness and the moodiness that a lot of Ireland collections have. There's a lot more bright colors in here because, fun fact, and this was just confirmed, you know, back when I was in Ireland over the last couple of weeks, there's a lot of bright colors in Ireland. A lot of like buildings and boats, houseboats and doors are painted really bright colors. Never got confirmation of like why they do this, but my guess is it's to combat, you know, all of the rain and all of the clouds and the dark skies that they have going on. So it's really fun to see. Okay, I already showed you Cashmere and quills. Let me go through the rest of these. So this is an amazing turquoise blue color that's called Waterside. This is based on a houseboat. Funny story about this. This like bright turquoise blue was the color of the houseboat last year. As we were getting closer to going back to that same spot on this year's trip, I was talking to Kimber and she was like, they better not have painted that houseboat. And I was like, that would just be like too devastating. There's no way they would do that. Well, we get back to that town. They painted the houseboat. It's a slightly darker blue. I think it actually matches this blue a little bit better. This blue is called the Blue Door. So yeah, the houseboat is like a darker blue now, and I was sitting there, I was like taking my photos, I was like, okay, like this is fine. And I get back on the bus and I'm like posting about it, and then I was like, wait a minute. Because I was posting like the photo that I took this time compared to the photo with the yarn from last time, and I was like, this is a different color. Like they painted this boat. And then I put them side by side and I was like, this is hilarious. Anyway, so this is Waterside. Really fun, bright teal blue. Love it. This is the Blue Door, based off of a restaurant in a town called Adair. And the restaurant is called the Blue Door. The door is blue. They had blue umbrellas. They had blue signs. Loved it. This variegated is called Adair. So this is based off a very similar photo next to the Blue Door restaurant. They had this like Aperol Spritz orange umbrella. They had all of these gorgeous flower beds with pink and yellow flowers in them. And so this colorway is based off of that photo. I'm gonna be honest, when I first saw this colorway, I was like, wow, this is a lot. But Kimber did some swatches. She did a knit swatch, a crochet swatch, and a Tunisian crochet swatch. And wow, these colors really play nicely together when worked up. And this went from being like one of my least favorites to one of my favorite skeins in the whole collection. So really excited about this. Okay, this is called Lyrath. Lyrath Estates is a hotel that we stayed at, and they have a gorgeous red front door. The like side of the hotel that kind of like looks like the front door but isn't actually the front door to the hotel anymore used to be an old home, and so they have like converted that old, well, the old home is still there. You can still go in and kind of see what it would have looked like, and then they built out the hotel behind it. So this colorway is based off the red door from Lyrath. Also, there's like red ivy that goes up the side of the building around the door, and it's just really gorgeous. So this is a really fun red. This would also make a really, really nice alchemy sweater, just saying. And then the last tonal that I want to show you is this green. We couldn't do an Ireland collection without a green. In my promo photos, I basically put this green next to photos of anything green that we saw in Ireland. You know, the hills with the sheep roaming, all the trees, the cliffs of Moher, like, you know, it's just your standard gorgeous Ireland green. And something really fun that we kind of realized is the Ireland and quills make a really, really nice kind of like vintagey red and green for Christmas, if this is something that you're interested in. So okay, I've got 3 more overall. This next one is called Montnati, and this is actually inspired by like a tropical flower wall that was at one of the hotels that we stayed at last year. So again, very much like not Ireland, but it was like a really fun spot that I loved and a really cool photo opportunity. One thing that we also realized is that this basically looks like a fuchsia flower with the red and then the purple underpants. And so that's what Rachel from Rachel is Knitting has dubbed this as the fuchsia color. And it's really gorgeous. I really like this red and purple. This next one is Grafton Street. So this is a speckled colorway on a base of, you know, white cream. And this is based off of just everything going on Grafton Street. Grafton Street is a shopping hub in the center of Dublin. It's a pedestrian only street with shops everywhere, live music, performers, and flower stalls. And I was really intrigued and just thought the flower stalls specifically were very beautiful. And so this colorway is based off of all of those colorful flowers, the brick buildings around it, and I think it like really nicely represents that area. Okay. And then last but not least, we have Cobblestone Cottage. This is a variegated with grays and beiges and browns, yellow, taupe, a very like neutrally variegated, but I do think this like really gives like cobblestone cottage vibes. And this was specifically inspired by a sheep farm we went to, Crampton Farms. They have the Zwartless sheep, and there's some really old, really beautiful buildings on the property that look like cobblestone cottages. So that's what this is inspired by. Okay, that is the whole collection. Here are the 4 variegateds and the self-striping. And here are the 5 tonals. I really want to make, my original plan was to make a stripe pipe sweater with the 5 tonals and holding just like a white cream yarn as the main color. And I couldn't really get around to it. I just like didn't have enough time before leaving for the trip. And now I do still think that would be a really like great option if you get the DK bundle of the 5 tonals. I think that would be amazing. My current thought, since I have fingering weight of these, is to actually get like a dark gray fingering weight and use these as the contrast colors for a double date sweater. That sweater is in DK, so I could hold the yarn double, but I kind of think where my mind is right now is that I want to like regrade it basically to be a fingering weight sweater and to use all of these tonals as the like crisscrosses on the double date. So that is my current thought. I think it'll be really fun. And I hope you'll consider shopping the collection. I had so much fun putting it together with Kimber. It's been so amazing just to see all of these colorways come to life, and then to go back to Ireland and like see all the spots that were inspired by these colorways again. It's just been really special. So link in the description box down below if you're interested. Okay, let's move on and talk next about one of the new cast-ons that I casted on while I was in Ireland. Okay, so one of the workshops that we had was with Lisa Sisk, who's the owner of This Is Knit, a yarn shop in Dublin. And the class that we did with her was a Mobius knitting class. So the pattern that we casted on is called the Glenties Cowl, and I'll just show you what I've got so far. It's kind of interesting to show you this because you literally cast it on as a Mobius. A Mobius, if you're not familiar, is like a ring with a twist in it. This is so weird to say, it only has one side. And the way that I can show you this, okay, here's my stitch marker for the beginning of round, right? And you can see like, okay, yeah, there's another side over here. But watch, I am going to follow around from my stitch marker, and when I get, like, I'm not taking my hands off at all, but now here I am on the other side where that stitch marker is. So it's still the same side, okay? And that's what makes this crazy. I'm gonna keep following it around until I get back. Here we're at a little bit of twist to the beginning. There was someone at the door, huh? Needs a haircut so badly. Okay, will you go lay down? Oh, you're gonna, okay. Thank you. Go lay down, okay? Okay, as I was saying, it's a really interesting shape, and the cast on is the hardest part for this. I think this pattern is on Ravelry, and you can look up videos of the Mobius cast on. Really interesting, really fun to have a tutorial. The cast on is right here in the middle. So this is the cast on, and then you're working it out because you're working just, you know, it's just one-sided. Anyways, it's so weird to think about. Our brains are like not meant to fully comprehend this shape. But it's really fun. And the yarn that I'm using for this, I think this is the soft Donegal yarn, which is a yarn milled in Ireland at the Donegal mill. It's a tweed. It's called the Donegal tweed, which if you've had other yarns that are like Donegal tweed yarns, they all come from that same mill in Donegal, Ireland. And it's this lovely, fun, bright pink color. So I still have a few more rows. I gotta get this width to 7.5 inches, so I think I've got like 5 or 6 more rows left to do, and then this will be done, and it'll be a nice fun cowl to wear on the next trip. So wanted to show you that. Okay, I've got one last project to talk to you about, and then the fun knit along announcement. So let's talk next about my brand new cast on, the Book Club cardigan. I am so excited to finally tell you that I have cast on the Book Club cardigan. If you've been around for a while, you know that I will not stop talking about wanting to knit the Book Club cardigan. And if you're new around here, I have not been able to shut up about wanting to knit the Book Club cardigan since it came out in May of this year. I've had this yarn for months, and I got back from Ireland a couple days ago and I was like, my knitting feels so light. I feel so free. I can cast on whatever I want. I have just finished this sweater. I was like really close to finishing the socks. And I was like, what do I want to cast on? And I looked at my shelf that has yarn for the next things I want to cast on. And I was like, oh my God, it is finally time. I can finally cast on the Book Club cardigan. And I did. Ah, here it is. It looks so good. I'm so happy with it. So I have, this is just the back panel, okay? It's just gonna be the little back panel with the first chart is done. I need to look at the instructions because I don't remember what comes next. I think the main chart is next, but yeah, these are my little shoulder increases. I think we just go straight down now for the back panel, and it looks so good. We've got the beginnings of our big cables. I've never knit any like this, so these are really fun. These are just the regular cables. We've got double seed stitch here. I don't know, there's like seed stitch, double seed stitch, moss stitch, double moss stitch, and in the pattern at one point she's like, don't confuse this stitch for the double seed stitch or the double moss stitch or whatever, and I'm like, okay, well what is it supposed to be then? Because I don't really know the difference. But this is the one where it's knit one, purl one, the next row, knit one, purl one, next row, purl one, knit one, next row, purl one, knit one. So just, yeah, I don't know. You can tell me which one that actually is. And let me show you the yarn that I'm using for this. I purchased this all from Wool & Co., which is a big yarn shop somewhere in the Midwest. I can't remember. But they have like a lot of options, and they have Knitting for Olive, and so I shop from them a lot when I'm looking for like something very specific. So anyways, it's a sport weight held with a mohair. So for the sport weight yarn, I got this Berroco Lanas Light. It's a 100% wool, a special blend of South American wools made in Peru, and it's 383 yards per 100 grams. And then the mohair that I'm using is the Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair in the colorway Dusty Violet. This had a color online, but I don't remember what it is. But anyway, here they are together. So the wool is slightly lighter than the mohair, and you can see the color that they're making is really nice. I don't even think it really looks marled at all. I think it just is going to be this really gorgeous purple with gray undertones colorway. Yeah, I posted this on my stories and people were like, that's gonna be a really lovely gray cardigan, and I'm like, it's purple. This is the problem with liking, like really loving these gray leaning purples, is everyone thinks they're gray and I'm like, they're purple. So there's my book club cardigan. Let me get a stitch marker, progress keeper, because we're gonna keep track of my progress between episodes for this. So hold on. We gotta find a good one. We gotta pick a good one. My bowl of progress keepers is like overflowing, but I'm really excited to show you when it arrives. I purchased I purchased like 3 other bowls from the Nicholas Moss Pottery Studio when we went in Ireland, with the intent of using them for other notions so that I can separate out like my stitch markers from all the other stuff that I've got in here. I've got all these, cable locks and row counters and everything. Okay, let's find a fun one. I really like this sheep, but it's not on a removable marker. I think I will put it on one so that we can use this, because I think this is really cute. This is from Denim and Rain from Phlox. So let me get, please hold. Okay, I specifically needed a gold lightning stitch marker to match the gold on here. So this is what we've got now. And then I'm going to stick this on my project. Just on one of these stitches here on the cord. Okay. Oh, look at it! It's so cute! Okay, I'm obsessed. This is gonna go on Instagram immediately. Okay, that is my book club cardigan. Okay, so what we've got, just to kind of recap my current whips, we've got the book club cardigan, and we've got the cowl. I really want to cast on another pair of socks, so I think that's going to happen this week. And then I've got one more thing that I'm going to cast on, which leads me into the knit along announcement. Boop-ba-da-doo. We're doing a California sweater knit along. It is live as of today, October 20th. I just decided, let's make it live today. People have been asking for it. People have got whips. Whips are welcome. It's going to be a super casual knit along, going from today through the end of December 31st. And all you have to do, make sure you're following me. When you post any of your progress photos or your finished object photos, just do hashtag knit California sweater and hashtag California Sweater KAL. There will be a couple prizes at the end. All of the prizes will be pulled from the California Sweater KAL hashtag. And this is, like I said, just really casual and meant to be fun for anyone who wants to knit the California sweater. We can all do it together at the same time. So, speaking of this, I need a little bit of help because I have 2 sweater quantities that I want to cast on, and I just need your help in deciding which one to cast on first, or right now. So, the first one, I think I have showed these to you in one of my planning videos, but the first one is this sweater quantity from Superglo Fibers. So this fun rainbow yarn is actually a Silky Boucle, 436 yards per 100 grams, and I've got 3 skeins of this. It's 70% mulberry silk, 30% fine merino, and it's just so soft, and I think this is gonna be really fun to knit with and really fun to wear. And and this is a one-of-a-kind colorway. Okay, I got this at the SoCal Fiber Fair last year. Lindsay from Superglo had posted that she was gonna have like 5 3 skein one of a kind quantities, and I like booked it to her booth because I really liked this one, and I got it. And then I picked out this Suri silk, 74% Suri alpaca, 26% silk, that I thought like would pair really nicely with it. And this is the colorway Mermaid Caves. And so they are slightly different. Like the Suri doesn't really have any orange in it, but it does have this bright yellow. And I just think they're gonna be really fun together. So I will say I'm leaning towards this because I think it'll be really fun to knit up and really soft to wear, and it would be really fun to wear that when I go back to the SoCal Fiber Fair in November. Actually, that's coming up very soon. I don't know if I'll finish it by then. It might be a whip status, but it'll be really fun to show Lindsay. And then the second sweater quantity that I have that I'm choosing between is this. And this is, the fingering weight is Lavender Haze from Dusty Yarn Co. So it's a really light purple. And then the fluffy yarn is actually the Truffula Cashmere in the colorway Harvest Moon from Treehouse Knits. And I have like 5 skeins of this, so my thought is to actually hold this double with the 1 strand of fingering, because I think this Truffula like isn't quite as fluffy as like a Mohair or a Suri would be. Like the strands, like the fiber itself is not as long, if that makes sense. Like okay, you see how the fluff from the Suri like sticks up to here? All of that fluff really fills in the gaps when you have a large gauge sweater that you're knitting, like the California sweater. The Truffula Cashmere is not like that at all, so it would not fill in those gaps as well. And so I think holding it double would be a really nice move, just to like add more fabric and more fiber in there. So that's my thoughts. The only reason I'm leaning against not doing this one right now is because it's basically the same color as my book club cardigan. And I don't know if I need to be knitting 2 sweaters that are exactly the same color. I think this one will be really fun. So if you have any thoughts though, please, I'm curious, leave them in the comments down below. I hope you will consider casting on a California sweater if you haven't cast one on recently. Maybe even if you already have knit one, maybe you want to knit another one with us. It's going to be really fun. Like I said, really chill. I'll be giving you updates on the podcast every week, but mostly it'll be run over on Instagram, where everyone's going to be posting. You can go follow the hashtag to see what everyone's up to, and we're just going to have a grand old time. A few people on the Irish knitting tour bought yarn for California sweaters while we were there, and so I know they are working on casting on right away, and that was like the big impetus for getting this going, because they were like, we all need to knit one at the same time, and I was like, well, I'm gonna knit another one too. And then I was like, oh yeah, people have asked for a knit along on Instagram and on YouTube, so I guess we're doing this. And then here it is, now it's here. So yeah, really fun. So much going on over here. All my finished objects. The Alchemy sweater test is gonna go live soon. So much to look forward to, and I'm just really inspired after this trip with all of my knitting. I am thinking about things to knit that I have never thought about knitting before. I mean, I think the sock thing is part of that. I have been dying to cast on something in color work, which, like, who even am I? So stay tuned, because that might be coming soon. I have a lot of ideas, so I think I'm gonna like try to package that up into some sort of video, and then cast on some sort of color work something. And yeah, I really think that's it for today. So thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for the Irish Knitting Tour recap vlogs coming soon. If you have a Facebook and would like to follow me over on Facebook, you can search for Knit California. There's a page for me over there. Go follow me on Instagram to keep up with everything that's going on a day-to-day basis. I am on a journey to 10K subscribers here on YouTube, so I would love if you are not subscribed, if you could hit that subscribe button. It really means a lot to me. Okay, that's it. Thank you again so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!